श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Om. So all that we are doing, whether हम स्क्रिप्चरल स्टडी करें, कोई भी रिचुअल करें, what is राधा?
जो राह दिखा दे वही राधा।
जीवन की धारा को जब उल्टा कर लेंगे तब राधा बन जाएगी। हमारी धारा क्या है? हमारी धारा इज आउटवर्ड, all the time flowing outward. It is when you turn it around, it goes and settles down with the Krishna inside you. And that is when it becomes Radha. So when you change that direction, it is Radha. So whether it is a Kartik Snan ritual, whether it is Grahan ke samay aapka ritual, all those rituals are aimed at changing your direction of thinking away from the material world into the inward world. That is all. That is the first and foremost. So whether you're आज के message में भी हम लोगों ने देखा what I was writing, that you going to a temple, going there and saying, oh अच्छा, I have passed in the exam, 101 नारियल फोड़ के आएंगे. Those of you who have known Hyderabad, there is a Visa Balaji over there.
Yeah, Visa Ganapati or Visa Ganapati?
No, Balaji, Visa Balaji in Hyderabad. You have वो people going to the US, visa नहीं होगा या होने वाला है, visa का interview है, so you go and you do 108 pradakshina around the temple, and then you also promise, once my visa is given, I will come back and do another 108. Hey, he's sitting with the passport visa officer or what? Seriously, और कोई काम नहीं है क्या? I mean, all these stupidities, I'm sorry to use such a strong word, but these stupidities, nothing wrong with that also. Nothing wrong with that. If you are stuck there, please do it. See, even when we ask for something, if we are asking without ego, then we are also a devotee. Sri Krishna very clearly says in Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 types of devotees. Arti, Artharti and Jignasu are also devotees. Only Jnani is the devotee. No. Even the Arti is a devotee. Even the Artharti is a devotee. Dhruva is a devotee. 5 दिन के अंदर में उसने इस भगवान को ईश्वर के रूप में महाविष्णु के सामने प्रकट कर दिया. बड़े बड़े ऋषियों ने करोड़ों सालों की तपस्या में नहीं किया जो 5 दिन के अंदर में उस बालक ने किया. 4.5 साल का बालक जंगल में जाकर he did tapasya for 5 days, and Vishnu had to come down and do whatever he wanted. Gajendra, Arti, Janak, Jignasu, all of these are devotees. But what is different between the normal devotee and is that the normal superficial devotee is that the ego is still there. Whereas with Gajendra, there is no ego. You should go to Srimad Bhagavat and read Gajendra Moksha, the Gajendra Stuti. Oh, what a beautiful poem it is. It is an amazing, and he has, in that entire Stuti, he has actually not called for Vishnu. He has called for the Supreme Brahman. The Brahman will take any form of Ishvara. That he took the form of 800 Vishnu and came and did what was needed. So, ritual is not wrong. Our attitude towards the ritual has to be understood. Which is why, if we go back again, very important here, in Aparoksha Anubhuti, in verse number 23, where we had stopped, he says, Deho hamityayam mudho matva tishtyaho janaha mamayam ityapi gyatva ghatadrishteva sarvada. He says, that I always think of myself as the body. I always think of and I identify with the body. Such a person is moodha. Because what do you say when you want to go from one place to another? तो आप क्या बोलते हैं? चलो गाड़ी में बैठते हैं. तो गाड़ी और मैं अलग हूं, ये तो हर समय हम लोग को नॉलेज है. At no point do we ever make a mistake that I am the car. Here he says that when you look at a ghata, when you look at anything object, here ghata signifies an object outside you. Whenever you look at an object outside you, you have no confusion in your mind that that object cannot be me. Then why are you getting confused that this object is you? Because this is also an object. Gurudev used to take us through a very fantastic meditation. We would be writing notes. Suddenly he would ask, what are you holding? Pen, Gurudev. Whose pen? My pen. Oh, acha. When you say my pen means it cannot be you because you are owning the pen. What are you holding it with? My finger. Ah, very good. My finger, which means you are not the finger. You are owning the finger. Deha bhava. Continuous discrimination. See, Aparoksha Anubhuti is basically that. Each verse is meant for a meditation, deep meditation in understanding this. Here he says, what is the meditation on this particular shloka? Here he says, every object that we see outside us, we 100% know. We have no confusion. Yes, Raghuji.
Yeah. Okay. I just actually you're talking about introspecting of the verses, and before we went on to the other verse 23, I had a question for clarification regarding verse 20 and 22.
Yes,
when
please.
he talks about awareness, Atman being the pure awareness, consciousness, the light, prakasha, and I just want to understand a little better. Actually, in verse 22, Gurudev's explanation mentions that, like a dead body cannot see. It's still got the eyes, it's still got the brain and all that, but it cannot see.
Mm.
Okay. I have a counter to that.
Mm.
A person is in coma. Where is his Atman? His Atman
Very
is
good.
with him.
Very good.
He's not gone.
I was expecting this question today, if not from you, but from myself also. I was expecting this question. That what is the state of consciousness when a person is said to be brain dead? What happens?
I'm talking about coma, who's not yet brain dead, but yeah.
No, brain dead. Brain dead, coma, brain is still working. What is the level of consciousness over there? It's a very interesting thing. You should go back to reading from Swami Rama. I'm assuming you have heard of him. Swami
No,
Rama.
I haven't.
Okay.
I have
So
not heard of him.
you should
Ramatirtha.
No, not Ramatirtha. Swami Rama of the Himalayas. You should just Google Swami Rama of the Himalayas. His life is again another very like Swam or Yogananda. His life is also full of very, very interesting coincidences, and he very casually puts them forward as coincidences. And he went through, I think it was University of I've forgotten. I've forgotten. I think it was Fremont, one of the US states. It was a state university, and they took him through a whole series of bodily experiments where he lay down and he stopped his heart. For 11 minutes, his heart was stopped. His brain EEG went flat. And when he came back, he was completely aware of whatever had happened inside the room. How was that possible? And he very clearly says, this is not mystical power. It is just that I am connected to the consciousness across this entire universe. I have to withdraw myself from that consciousness and live here and now in this body. Otherwise, I cannot function. I will have to go. He says that in his own autobiography. Living with Himalayan Masters. That is the name of the book. Living with Himalayan Masters. You find part 1, part 2. There are 2 parts. So even in the comatose state where the EEG was showing a flat line, the heart is showing a flat line, but the consciousness which was retained, and he says that it is yoga practice, physical yoga practice, which allows him to do that. That has nothing to do with the consciousness. They are 2 separate. And he very clearly brings that apart. And he says that the consciousness, I'm aware of everything that is happening. That universal consciousness that we talk about, he just tapped into it for those 11 minutes, and he was aware of what the nurses were saying, what had happened, and so on and so forth. So here, I mean, thanks for raising that, because it was a doubt in my own mind, where it said that what happens in a comatose state, and I went back to this particular book to recheck what Swami Rama had said. So here we go back to this. So I hope I've answered your query. So here,
yeah, in a sense you have. So obviously there is a level of connectivity which I need to understand a little bit better. But okay, because I was thinking, see, if the body is not seeing anymore, because the processes that have to when the light falls in the retina and it is converted into electrical impulses, that impulse has to be transmitted. For that, a lot of bodily processes have to work, and those are not working in that body. So therefore, it doesn't go anywhere.
See, I think it's like this. All these, even retina, all these are bodily aspects, whereas the pure consciousness is beyond that. Okay, and that is aware of everything. Even when the person is dying, it is the actual Sukshma Sarira and Karana Sarira. It's not beyond Sukshma Sarira and Karana Sarira. It is the consciousness, the Atman itself. Atman is aware of everything, but it doesn't react or anything. I think it remains, it doesn't matter whether a person is in a coma state or non-coma state or a brain dead, everything, but the Atman still is there. Atman moves along with the Sushma Sarira and Karana Sarira. Only the Stula Sarira is left at the time of death. This is my understanding.
So Vishu, you're right. See, basically, consciousness is completely apart. So whatever you are talking about, Raghuji, is the physical processes. Those physical processes will continue or will stop when the physical body dies. Vasamsi Jirnani, we have seen very clearly. So that consciousness moves. Now, Vishu has raised a very interesting point of the Tri Sharira concept. Tri Sharira, Sthula, Sukshma, and Karana. Do you believe in ghosts?
I'm how do you say, ambivalent. I wouldn't be surprised if ghosts existed. If they didn't exist, also I wouldn't be surprised.
First, let me tell you 2 incidents in my own life. I was doing Narmada Parikrama. I was a very old age of 14 years old. I had gone away from my house and I had started my Narmada Parikrama. Went to Amarkantak, started from Amarkantak, and you have to cross through a very dense forest. And while in that forest, I had to stay in a particular dark bungalow. Now, when I was reaching that particular, I was 4 kilometers away. It had started getting dark. When I reached that dark bungalow, the caretaker insisted that I cannot stay there. And he said, come with me to my village, which is in the reverse direction. Now, in the Narmada Parikrama, you cannot go backward. So I said, I cannot go backward. Narmada Har. That is the call. That is how we say Narmada Har. So he said, okay, you cannot go back. Then you walk forward another 6 kilometers and then you will reach another village and you can stay there. I said, it's already dark. If I go through the forest in 6 kilometers, I might get injured. I might be attacked by wild animals. There are bears over there. So, and leopards, obviously. So he very, very reluctantly allowed me to stay over there. Now, I was the only person. He made some water arrangements, put a mosquito net and all that. He made all those arrangements where there was no electricity. He put a lantern and he went away. And he said, I will come in the morning with some breakfast and then you can leave. So I said, okay. I was lying down on the bed and there was a bathroom attached to the room, and there was a metal bucket, and water was dripping onto that metal bucket. And I don't know if it irritates you, but I have some partial OCD, so it was a very irritating sound, right? टिंग 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 बाल्टी के अंदर में पानी गिर रहा है. मैं थोड़ा इरिटेट हो गया. So I went there, I tightened the tap. I tightened the tap, water stopped, I came back. 3 to 4 minutes later, again tip, tip, tip. So I said, oh, the washer must be bad. So I now went inside and said, let it fall on the ground. Then it will not make a mistake, make a sound. So I removed the bucket. I kept it outside. Not outside, I mean inside the bathroom, but away from the tap. So now the water should fall on the ground and there will be no sound. Very nice. 3 to 4 minutes later, again the same sound. When I went inside, the bucket had moved back under the tap and it was making that sound. I moved it back. This happened 3 times. After the 3rd time, I actually said aloud, either you go away from here and stop disturbing me, or I am going to start doing Hanuman Chalisa. I had a very strong belief at that point of time. Bhuta pishacha nikata nahi aave. So I said that, and after that point till the morning, there was no sound. What happened? I have no idea. Right? Now another incident. This is in the city of Bangalore, at the bus stop. Near the bus stop, there is a small, very, very ordinary hotel. I was possibly 3-star category. I was in transit for 2 nights. I was to stay in Bangalore. I was, that time, I think this is post my marriage, so this is in 94, 95. I stayed in the hotel. Now the hotel room was a very small room. It had a bed. There was a right angles to the bed. There was a sofa and there was a center table. I was reading. Then I felt drowsy. I kept the books aside. I went to sleep. And after I put off the lights, I suddenly felt there was somebody in the room. I opened my eyes. There were 2 people sitting on the sofa. A young man in jeans and t-shirt and an elderly person in a typical Kannadiga pagdi and kurta. And they were discussing whether the taxi that they want to start should be an ambassador or should be a Fiat. The moment I woke up, they vanished. I actually saw them so clearly that I looked under the bed. कि इन लोग कोई चोर था, भीतर घुसा है, छुपा हुआ है. Went to the bathroom, opened the door, there was nobody there. I was clear that this was some manifestation. Next night, I said, I'm going to pretend to be sleeping and let me see what happens. Same incident got repeated, except that the last time the young boy was sitting near the bed. This time the boy was sitting away and the man was sitting near the bed. And they were having the same discussion. Taxi, the Fiat or auto or ambassador. Next day morning, I was going to check out and I told I called for the duty manager and I said, what is there in that room? He looked at me and said, oh no, we have to call the Ojha again. हमें वापस ओझा बुलाना पड़ेगा. They knew that there was something happening. So then we obviously had a discussion. He said, we don't know what it is. This is not built on any symmetry or any of those horror movie things. इसके ऊपर में नीचे कोई कब्र खाना भी नहीं है, यहाँ स्मशान भी नहीं था, यहाँ कोई मर्डर नहीं हुआ है, कुछ नहीं है. मगर ये क्यों होता है नहीं पता. ओझा आता है, झाड़ फूक करता है, उसके कुछ दिन के बाद वापस आ जाते हैं. And everybody tells us the same story. Now what is this? There is an explanation. The explanation is from Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa with Brahmananda, Swami Brahmananda. Brahmananda, Rakhal Maharaj and Thakur were crossing the river. And they had to wait for the boat to come. They were at the ghat. They were at Dakshineshwar Ghat. They wanted to cross over. They were going to Naihati or somewhere. They were waiting at the boat. For waiting at the boat, there was a small hut in which both of them went and sat. And just immediately after that, Thakur said, let us leave. We will not sit here. Let us sit outside in the ghat. The ghat was hot. So Brahmananda said, Rakhal Maharaj said that, why do you want to sit on the ghat? It is hot here. It is shady here. Said, no, 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 you didn't see them? Those two are getting very disturbed with my presence. So then Rakal Maharaj asks that what is this? What is this thing of called ghosts? Thakur explains here using the Sukshma Sharira. What is the Sukshma Sharira? The Sukshma Sharira is what is called our energy body. The energy that we have, right? All the energy. This energy also has a very strong clinging nature in the form of the rubber from the Karana Sharira in the form of vasanas. So when there is a very strong attachment, the Sukshma Sharira with no consciousness, be here very clear, huh? No consciousness attached to it. It is only a mass of bundle of emotional energy which has clung or sticking to a particular point or a place in time. And they're stuck there. Now, when you express emotions, strong emotions, those emotions resonate and you are affected. If you are not emotional, you are very calm, dispassionate, they cannot interact with you. So that is what is called, we call them bhuta. The Karana Sharira is very different. The Karana Sharira, Karana, means cause. It is the cause of your birth. It caused you to take birth because of the vasanas that have clung onto the Atman as an avarana. This avarana, unless you have got rid of all the vasanas, the causal body is going to stick to you through the 84 lakh yonis that we have gone through. The Sthula Sharira is what you are seeing. That will drop off anyway at some point of time. I always nowadays I'm telling people the average age for urban Indian male according to the last census is 72.6. So I have now 10 years left. So please start getting ready for it. It's not 10 years. It can happen tomorrow morning. We have to be prepared. This is the Stula Sharira. Then there is the Sukshma Sharira, which is your emotional energy. And the last is the Karana Sharira, which is your set of vasanas.
Okay, I have a question here
Yes,
to follow up on what Vishu had mentioned. See, the Atman can actually derive from experiences around. It doesn't really, I mean, people who have connected with the Brahman, they will be able to, like the Maharshi Ram that you are mentioning, okay? So they can still have experiences. Then I ask, why then did the Parabrahman, they say that you take the body because you want the experiences. You cannot get moksha and you cannot come out of this while sitting in Vaikuntha. You have to come back to earth, or you have to take birth and then to go through the experiences and then cross over. But why, if the body is not required to get those experiences, why the hell did it even decide to take the body?
So that is a question that even Adi Shankaracharya does not answer. He says, you are trying to understand why Maya exists. The point is that Maya does not exist. You are creating it. You are existing in it because you have created it. Instead of that, run after that which is permanent, that which is real. So I don't know whether he was evading the answer or whether I am evading the answer. I actually don't know the answer. I'm being very honest here. But even Adi Shankaracharya does not answer this question of why Maya. Why does Maya exist? How did Maya come into existence? He answers that by saying that Maya does not.
In all his verses, he very clearly says Maya itself is an illusion. Okay,
Correct.
Maya means illusion really. So it does not exist. So he said that it is your own creation.
You are creating it
is
in your imagination.
And see, it is because of, you remember when you were teaching the Brahma Sutra, one of the very important point at the Vesti level, you said it is avidya. See, at the samasti level, it is the Maya. I remember I was just going through. See, Vesti level, it is avidya. It is the avidya which leads you to Maya and thinks that Maya exists, and we are calling it as and if you read this one also very clearly, Aparoksha Anubhuti also very clearly says towards the end, it says very clearly there is no Maya. All this are your own creation. There is nothing at the gross level. There is nothing called no. Even there is no distinction between Jivatma and Paramatma. Okay, the Jivatma, Paramatma, and all is a reflected, thinking. It is basically, and the deflection is the Maya. So, Maya does not exist. We are actually seeing a virtual image of the world, and that is why we are thinking that Maya exists, and then we are thinking that as the real. I mean, this is what I have understood.
Very rightly put, because what did we talk about? We said ya ma sa maya. That which does not exist is Maya. But what have we done? We have engaged with it so strongly that it has taken on it's like a dream world, right? Inside the dream, you are, okay, so what does Mandukya Upanishad say? Mandukya Upanishad says, I think I have asked this question earlier. How do we know that we are not dreaming? ये अभी सपना नहीं है.
Yeah.
ये अभी सपना नहीं है. How do you know?
There is something deep inside us, the consciousness, which knows all the three states.
How do you know right now? Give me a very clear, practical answer saying that. How do you know you are not dreaming? You in a very, very vivid dream, you are sitting here and studying Aparoksha Anubhuti with me.
कोई हमको बता देता है कि आप हो अभी, जैसे अभी आपसे बात हो रही है.
कैसे पता? ये तो सपने में भी बात होती है. सपने में जब कोई भयानक कुछ होता है, आप जब उठते हैं तो आपके शरीर पे पसीना पसीना है. Actually, you experience those emotions inside your dream.
लेकिन सपना टूटता है ना. This is not.
How do you know?
How do you? Am I dreaming? You pitch yourself.
We are right now in the Jagrata.
My question is, how do you know? The answer is very simple. The answer is called continuity.
Okay.
The answer is continuity. So when you wake up in the morning and you look at the ceiling is still white, the fan is still brown, right? But in your dream state, that continuity does not exist. Now, when you go to the Turiya state, in the Turiya state, even the dream state of the discontinuous existence of the physical state in the Jagrata Avastha, it becomes visible. That's all. Very simply, he puts it. So in the Turiya state, the fourth state, and there you then say, oh, there was no Maya.
Actually, it is not a state itself.
Yeah, it's not a state, but see, what it's like this. When we say there are 9 steps to my house, the 9th step is my house. It is not a step, but for the purpose of language, we say that it is the 9th step.
Yeah.
Right? When you climb the 18 steps on to Shabrimala, you count the 17 steps. The 18th step is the landing itself.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Very nicely put it. Yeah.
So here again we go back to that sense of identification. And here very clearly the meditation that is this particular shloka comes. What is important when we are studying Aparoksha Anubhuti is that each shloka is a shloka for manan. What is the manan is this? The manan is मेरे बाहर कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट है वो मैं नहीं हूं. I understand. Table, chair, floor, wall, TV, bartan, he uses ghat, any object. But this object, I think of it as myself. But this is also an object. It is nothing but an object. That is the manan. तो इसके लिए क्या करेंगे? गुरुदेव का मेडिटेशन यूज करेंगे. ये मेरा पेन, मेरा उंगली, मेरा अंगूठा, मेरा हाथ, मेरा कंधा, मेरी छाती. When I say all this mera, I am clearly saying by definition that this is not me. I own it. It is mine, but it is not me. So that is the meditation with the verse number 23. Now, yes.
I just a couple of points. One is, when about the conscience pervading, when we say it is all pervading, whether it is in the points of whichever sharira, and with even if it is in case of ghosts or whichever state, the conscience, is the Brahman is very much prevalent, is very much there. Only thing is, these things don't reflect. Only our deha, our sthula sharira reflects that, because it is like a mirror, isn't
So,
it? It's that
so,
it is present in every kana, every anu. It's
yes.
there, but it does not reflect it. We don't get to see it, but it is there, just like
the two different things. Two different things. It does not reflect, and we don't get to see it. We don't get to see it is the correct statement. It is reflecting all the time. It is reflecting. Every stone is reflecting Brahman. Every leaf is reflecting Brahman. Every ghost is reflecting Brahman. Every wave on the river is reflecting Brahman. I am unable to see it because I am limited in my own consciousness to this body, mind, intellect construct.
Body, mind. Yes.
So
And
yes.
Go
ahead.
The other one was that anyway, I think this your answer cleared it. So no, that's it. That's all.
Okay. So in verse 24, he says, Brahmaivaham samah shantaha sachidananda lakshanaha naham deho yasadrupo jnanam ityuchyate budhaihi. The only knowledge that I have to talk about, the only knowledge is that I am not the body. Here, when he says body, he is not looking at the physical body, but the body, mind, intellect construct that we are constantly identifying. I am angry, I am stupid, right? Intellect mein I am stupid or I am wise, I am angry or I am happy at a emotional level, or I am fat, I am thin. We have seen that in Brahma Sutra also. These are the mistakes that we make. But he says, what is the nature of Brahman? Brahmaivaham samah shantaha. It is sama, it is equal. Just now what we talked about. Brahman is reflecting in every, it is not reflecting, it is every kana, every anu is nothing but Brahman. And it is completely quiescent. And it has only three qualities. And those are also not qualities in that sense. Those are the attributes, or these are our language limitations in understanding it. It exists, Sat. It is conscious, and it is of the nature of Ananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So when we see in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Achirena param shantim gacchati. Param shanti. What is shanti? Shanti means Ananda. The moment your brain, Sri Ramana Maharshi used to ask, he has asked this question in one of the Day by Day with Bhagawan. In that book, it is there, this particular dialogue. It says that when you get a particular, say for example, you are looking for a Audi car, and the Audi car comes. When your Audi car comes, you feel very happy. Why do you feel happy?
मेरी वासना पूरी हुई.
That's not what Ramana Maharshi says.
It's a status symbol that has that you have achieved. That's why you feel happy.
Okay. What Ramana Maharshi says is, you had a vasana, very rightly so, and suddenly that thought wave that related to that vasana stopped. Because the thought wave stopped, your mind became still, and the nature of your true nature of Ananda came up in the form of Sukha. The next moment, another thought wave comes and the Sukha becomes Dukha. Right? Audi itna mehenga kharida, somebody has taken a key and he has scratched the paint. Right? If you live in Bombay, That is something that you are risk that you are always living with. If your car is parked outside, and it doesn't have to be an Audi, it can be a very simple Maruti Alto or something. You are the risk of somebody taking a car and putting a scratch on your car. And the moment that has happened, my car has got damaged. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, he says, every sukha is a yoni of dukha. Why does that happen? Because of thought waves. So the thought waves that are continuously happening. Gurudev, in one of his lectures, he has said, what is mind? Mind is nothing but the incessant flow of thoughts. The moment you can...
how can Ananda transform into Sukha and Dukha? Ananda is bliss eternal.
Ananda is Sukha. Ananda is Ananda. Yes, you're right. Ananda is Ananda. But have you got rid of all your vasanas? No. So what happens? That Ananda also gets flavored. See, you have added the porchugutti. You have added the vagar. उसके ऊपर में आनंद ऊपर आ रहा था, दूध उबल रहा था, या वो कड़ी उबल रही थी, वो आपने ऊपर में जीरा का वगार दे दिया. One beautiful flavor of jeera will come, no? But when you try to eat it with that jeera, there was a stone, and your tooth got chipped. So our vasanas are the problem. Here he says, what is the definition? What is it that you need to think? What is it that you need to understand? Oh, I don't understand this. Okay, no problem. Let us move forward and see whether he says something which we can understand. I don't understand Sachidananda. Okay, no problem. Nirvikara nirakaro. Niravadyoham abhyayaha. That is the first line. The second line is the same. Naham deho yasadrupo gyaramityuchate budhaihi. Okay, so nirvikara. What is vikara? What is the meaning of the word vikara?
Change.
Sorry? Yes, change. Now, let us look at that change and understand. So, what is the meditation here? That I sense, how is it disconnected with the body, mind, intellect? Nirvikara. Did your I sense change from the time you were first conscious of I as a separate being to now? Has your sense of I ever changed? And you find that no, that is not changed. Somebody had an appendix taken away because of an operation. Oh, I am I minus appendix. मैं थोड़ा कम हो गया, मेरे से appendix निकल गया. Doesn't happen, no? Or you were 3 years old when you first got the sense of I, and at that time you were 8 kilos, 9 kilos of weight, and now you are 65 kilos of weight, and that extra weight has that increased your sense of I? No, at the body level that has not happened. At the mind level that has not happened. At the intellect level that has not happened. Nirvikara. This is the meditation. Aparoksha Anubhuti, the truths that are stated over there for somebody like us, because we have studied Bhagavad Gita, we are studying Bhagavad Gita, we are studying Brahma Sutra, these truths are very self-evident now in terms of understanding. Now they need to become experiences. And to become experiences, you need to meditate on these words. Nirvikara. What does Nirvikara? And obviously, he has used these words also in the Nirvana Shatakam and such shlokas. So he says Nirvikara. It does not change. It is Nir Akara. Akara means shape. It has no shape. Your shape changed. Right? Raghuji, you have put your DP because of your phone right now. So the face that you have now and the face that you are showing here are completely different.
True.
But you are you. You are you. That akar, the name and form that continuously undergoes that change is not me. Niravadhyo. It is free from all blemishes. And it is free from all decay. Forget the last two. Just take the first two. Nirvikara and Nirakara. And if we can even meditate on these two constantly, you are already thinking in the terms of saying, okay, let me now at an intellectual level at least understand this. Let me put another small caveat here.
In fact, in the Lalita Sahasranama also this comes, Nirbimukta, Nirbikara, Nirakara.
Correct. When in the Nirguna Sadhana of
Nirguna
Lalita
Sahasranama,
Lalita, she is yes.
Form part, first few, this is around 40 or 50 of the sutra onwards it comes. Completely it comes.
Correct. So that is a very short part. After that, again, she becomes Saguna. And then there is a Saguna Upasana, which is also very natural because, see, okay, so very rightly, it's in flow of what we were talking. Any sadhana, if there is any guru in this world who will tell you that I can give you moksha, then that guru is, I'm sorry to say this, is lying to you. He is lying to you outright. Now, whether he is lying out of his own ego and his own imagination, or he is lying to take advantage of you, I'm not even going there. Any person who is possibly guiding you can take you up to dharana, the stage of dharana, not even dhyana. Dhyana is what you will do. Dharana is the point where you have learned to make your mind sit down in one place and stop jumping. So, pratyahara, so asana, all the yama, niyama, asana, pranayama are the physical parts. Today, the Western science talks about neuro-linguistic programming, body affecting the mind. That is what we are talking here. So you learn how to sit down in one place, be still. Then you learn how to control your breath. In chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, he has already told us that very clearly. And then, for that matter, in chapter 4 also, he told us that there is a pranayama yagya. Apana has to be in the equal. Right? We go on, and he says, next step is pratyahara. Pratyahara means not getting disturbed by what is happening outside you. So you sit down in your meditation, and so can I not be meditating while walking? Oh, yes, you can. But to reach that state of being meditative while walking, you have to go through that state where you learn how to meditate while sitting down. First, do the easy work, na? 5 किलोमीटर दौड़ना नहीं आता है, मैराथन में दौड़ नहीं सकता हूं क्या? हाँ, दौड़ सकते हो, बट पहले 5 किलोमीटर दौड़ो ना, फिर 5 किलोमीटर को अपने स्पीड बढ़ा के दौड़ो, फिर उसकी स्टेमिना बढ़ा के दौड़ो, and then you run for 41 kilometers or whatever that distance is. It cannot happen in overnight. So the process is that once we learn pratyahara, then you learn how to say, fine, how can I bring my mind to one place? Doing a manan on nirvikara and nirakara is that process whereby you get your mind into one place with a very clear discerning intellect. You are applying your intellect and saying, I cannot be the body, mind, intellect. In the next verse, he goes on further and he says, Niramayo nirabhaso nirvikalpo hamatataha. Right? Nirvikalpo ham atataha. So, Niramayo nirabhaso nirvikalpo hamatataha. Niramayo. Ama means disease. In Ayurveda, the first thing that you go and when you do to any Ayurvedic clinic, the first thing they will do is first they will put you on a fast and they will give you enema or they will give you a laxative. And they will start cleansing your internal mucus that is accumulated. That mucus that has got accumulated is believed to be the source of all the diseases that happens in your body, and that is called ama. Nira ama yaha. Niramayaha. Niramaya means free of all diseases. Biggest disease. Right? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, we say. Biggest disease. Oh, I will die. Who will die? This body will die. This manas will die. This intellect will die. I cannot die. Niramayaha. Then he says, Nirabhasaha. Now, we are trying to understand the Atman. right? A little while earlier, Raghuji, when he was responding to that question or the statement of Swami Rama, he said, yes, I cannot, I'm trying to understand. No, you cannot understand it. Very clearly he says, Nir abhasaha. Bhasa means that which is light, which is glowing, which is lit up. Lit up here with what? With your understanding. Nir abhasa. You cannot comprehend it. Then what? Oh, but I can experience it. I can experience it, but I cannot comprehend it. I cannot comprehend it because I cannot make anybody else understand. It's very simple because it's an experience.
It cannot be measured. It cannot be measured also. So aprameya.
So it is, yes, it is aprameya. It is beyond my all alternatives and beyond all, it is beyond my imagination. I cannot imagine it. Upanishad says that, no? The Upanishad says that it is where the mind cannot reach, the tongue cannot reach, the eye cannot reach, and so on and so forth. Very clearly it says.
Arupa, that in Kathopanishad it is coming.
Yeah, in Kathopanishad it is there. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also it is same. Anoraniyanam, it says, and over then in that area, he also says that where the mind cannot reach. So, where the mind cannot reach it. So, you are trying to grasp something with our limited understanding. We are trying to grasp something which is beyond the mind itself. But yet, can I not experience it? Or how can that be? Very simple. Explain to me the sound of a saxophone. Explain to me the sound of a saxophone. Even in the material world, a simple experience of something. I was told that the sound of a saxophone is very beautiful. Can you please explain what it is like? Oh, it is like a young child crying. How is that beautiful? Young child crying. Why should that be beautiful? Right?
Can be explained only by playing that sound, by playing that instrument.
So it can only
correct.
Be
it's therefore I can only understand it only when I experience it. So my experience comes first. So when which means it's an experience. Right? The moment I have that abhasa, then it is no longer nirabhasa. Hence, even in the Aparoksha Anubhuti itself, in Acharya says in the opening paragraphs in his introduction, he says the title of this book itself is wrong. Because the word experience itself says that experience means there must be three things. Experience, experiencer, and the act of experiencing. All that is irrelevant. But I have my limitations of words. Hence he says Niramayaha and Nirabhasaha. Niramaya, I have given the example of Swami Atma Priyananda Prabhakar Maharaj earlier. In the most painful of diseases, he is in himself. So when you go and ask him, how are you, Maharaj? First class. He actually lifted his hands like that. First class. Something that I've learned from him. I quite often say this. Anybody asks me, I always say first class. Second class का ticket life में खरीदा ही नहीं था. We always have first class. Second class का ticket क्यों खरीदे? क्योंकि मेरा नेचर चिदानंद रूप शिवोहम है. देह के अंदर में बहुत कुछ होते रहेगा. छोटी छोटी चीज होगी, दांत के अंदर में छेद होगा, सर पटकेगा कहीं, दरवाजा कैबिनेट का दरवाजा खुला रहेगा, सर पटकेगा. एक्चुअली हुआ है, बोल रहा हूं मैं, सर पटका मैंने. तो ठीक है, मेरा सर गया था ना, मेरा सर, मैंने. दैट इज निरामया. And then he says nirabhasaha. Very important to understand that I cannot experience, I cannot understand you. Neither I can understand Ishvara nor can I understand Brahman. But at Ishvara, therefore, is the use of Ishvara. Ishvara is a tool that Brahman himself or itself allows us to make use of. To be able to go to that proximal area, and then you take that jump. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa also crosses that, no? He says that he takes the form of Kali. He is in so love with that form of his divine mother that he cannot penetrate. And then what does he say? He says, I took that sword of discrimination from her own hand and I cut her into two and I crossed beyond her. Ishvara is also a tool, but it is a great tool that we can, and it is a very, very potent tool. So we use that tool and then we say Niramaya, Nirabhasa, Nirvikalpa. It is tataha. It is all pervading. It is all pervading. When you get hit on your toe by a stone, your whole body reacts to that pain. Why? Because that consciousness has pervaded through this entire body. Once that has happened, then I say that it is not only this body, but all the other bodies in this world have the same pain, the same consciousness, the same ananda. Gurudev was giving a speech at in one of the army conclaves. I don't remember which one it was. There is a video of it. Obviously, I wasn't there, but attending it. But there is a video where he uses this example. He says, if my finger goes and pokes my eye, do I start cursing the finger? No, because the finger is also, I identify with the finger, I identify with the eye, and I know that the eye ka pain finger se nahi hua hai. When I am hit by a stone on my thumb, do I take that stone and I sit down and take a hammer and break that stone into pieces? No, I just accept that the pain is through the body. Now, if I know that that pain goes through that entire body, and if I can experience at some point of time, or at least empathize that this pain could be something that everybody else is experiencing, where is the difference between Sikh and Hindu and Jain and Muslim? Where is that difference? That is the all-pervading Atman and all-pervading Brahman that is through and through with all of us. Hence, he very clearly says, Naham deho yasadrupo jnanam nityuchyate budhaihi.
That is repeated in all the, I think, next 10 verses.
Next 8 or 10, yes, next 8 or 10 shlokas he will repeat this. So that's for today.
I remember what I wanted to say that time, the other point. It was
Yes,
about
please.
Maya. Isn't Maya a play of the gunas, all the three gunas, and the Nama and Rupa?
Yes, but where did the gunas come from? They don't even exist. We create them in our own mind, isn't it? That is the whole story. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Dhanyavad.